this video is all about how to process regret. So regret is truly one of the most awful emotions from a trauma therapy perspective to process. It's just that endless rumination like cycle of, oh, should have done that, I could have done that, why didn't I do that? Like, it's a horrible place to be. And for a lot of people that have done things that they're not proud of or they're struggling to live with, this can be torture. It really, a lot of the clients that I've worked with that are dealing with regret as part of the emotional, landscape of their trauma, it's pretty brutal. So it's not a fun emotion to process. And we're not actually taught as people to process negative emotions. We're not pulled aside in high school and taught that actually emotions are important, that they are an indication of needs that were met or violated, or how to actually handle them, feel into them somatically, and from a sensory motor perspective actually release them and release the emotional charge associated with them. We're not taught how to do any of that. So the way that most people deal with it is they talk about it. And that's, I suppose, the design of talk therapy, is to keep, in a gestalt or whatever ways, to continue to have these ongoing conversations, except more conversations when it comes to hindsight bias, which is the category of regret. It can cause like a paralysis of that analysis of what we should have done, could have done, and it almost like re-traumatizes people when they talk about it too much. So you can have a lot of disappointment that life didn't turn out as you wanted, or perhaps you did something or said something or didn't do something or didn't say something that contributed to that. And it's hard when it's your fault. But when you focus on wallowing in the fact that that thing was your fault and not actually just facing the truth of it and the simplicity of it, you can really get stuck. And sometimes I've seen people that get stuck for years focused on their regret. And healing is a learning journey. You have to find a way to learn from it without becoming debilitated by it and not wallowing in the endless cycle of it. It's kind of like stopping everything and thinking, okay, I did what I did. It's true that I did what I did. I cannot take it back. And there's no point in sitting here hating myself and wallowing in this forever, because I don't have a time machine. I do not have an ability to go back, redo anything that happened. I don't have the ability to play it again. So torturing myself in this way really lacks self-compassion. And I'm, judging myself with the eyes of today back on the person that at that time was probably just trying to get some needs met, was probably just trying to do the best that they could at that time. So this is cruel. This is a real cycle of cruelty that you are perpetuating and continuing by focusing on this conversation and this narrative. So it takes kindness and compassion to process and heal from regret. It takes truth. It takes facing the truth. It takes accepting the reality of the situation. I did what I did, with the slant of compassion. Like, I was probably doing the best that I could at the time. At that time, I thought X, Y, Z. At the time, I was trying to get this need met. At the time, you know what? I can look back and say it was a mistake, or it was an accident, or I had no idea of the repercussions of what I was doing, or I did it at the time and I didn't quite understand the extent of it. And then be willing to learn and adjust from it. Being willing to actually be capturing the learnings. What did I learn from that? I learned this, this, and this. And never again, and I make a commandment with myself. I make a real promise to myself that moving forward, I will adjust my life and dedicate my life in service of what I've learned. And I will now honor that. And by honoring that, there might be a moment of, where you need to make some kind of reparation, or you need to have some restitution or redemption kind of project associated to that? Is there something that I can do to redeem myself? Is there something that a project that I can dedicate my life to actually cleanse myself from what I did, without shaming yourself? Just like, I did what I did, I face it, I have compassion for myself because I understand there's no time machine. What can I do to redeem, learn, grow, and adjust from it? This is the process that people have to go through. If you're struggling with this, sometimes it's because you're doing it too cognitively. And as a somatic therapist, I can tell you that a lot of regret is actually, it's viscerally experienced and held within the body. And if you do not process it within the body where it's originating and getting stored and causing poison circulating within you, you're probably going to get stuck. So by sitting with it and sitting in the discomfort of it until the charge eventually dissipates, this process, the deepening into that, is a process of discovery, and it can be real catharsis for people. It can be real transformation for people, just a real peace, and it's beautiful, the learnings, the redemption. Like, people create the most amazing things coming out of that, because it's one of the hardest emotions to process when you are struggling to live with it. So consider some of the things that I've said. If you're getting stuck, get support. It's quite challenging to process regret effectively on your own. And consider that talk therapy is not the most impactful modality. Things like EMDR, Hakomi, parts therapy, clinical hypnotherapy, these processes and techniques are a bit more effective. And if you want to find out more about how we help people process regret, make sure to contact us on our website. For more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Thanks.